Are you ready?
Greetings, Weekend Warriors. This is your host, David Marks, and your equally significant co-host, Josh Gaines. And today's topic is educators in D&D with our special guest, Lex Lenington from Winona High School in Winona, Texas. And we're going to talk to him about his after-school program. First, we are going to do our usual reviews of movies, video games, books. So let's start with movies. Today we are going to do the cornerstone of all sword and sorcery movies. I am going to give you a question and see if you can guess the movie from the question. Lex, what is best in life?
To see your enemies driven before you. To hear the lamentations of their women.
Yes. We are talking about Conan the Barbarian, the 1982 one.
You know, you got that quote is from Genghis Khan originally.
Yes.
There's a little bit more to it than that, but
yes,
they actually cleaned it up for Conan.
But yeah, you know, Conan was originally supposed to be a series of 4 movies.
Oh yeah.
But Hollywood, in all their wisdom, after the first one, which was great, they decided to make, obviously, Conan the Destroyer. And they're like, okay, I bet you we could make more money if we made it from an R-rated movie to a PG movie. Total flop. After that, you know, didn't make much money, so Schwarzenegger was like, okay, let's do the Terminator. So he dropped his contract for the other 2 movies.
I wonder if that's why there were always rumors about Conan the Conqueror being a movie. Because I was fairly young when those movies came out, but I remember my older brothers always talking about there was supposed to be a 3rd movie called Conan the Destroyer out there somewhere.
Well, Conan the Destroyer was the 2nd movie.
Or not Destroyer, Conan the Conqueror, I mean. Yeah,
there was supposed to be a series of them. It was supposed to go all the way up to Conan taking the throne. That's why at the end of Conan movies, you always saw him sitting on the throne. It was supposed to lead up to that. But like I said, the 2nd movie was like a colossal flop. And a bit of interesting trivia, you know, each one of those swords from the Conan movie, those broadswords, cost $10,000 to make. Wow. And that was $10,000 1982 money. Yeah, I think those, without a doubt, most arguably are the cornerstone of sword and sorcery movies. I can't think of one that nearly was as successful as the Conan movies back then.
Not mainstream, I don't think.
No.
And it was a popular genre, but I feel like Conan was the only one that was like successful in the time period.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason Conan is in Appendix N.
Yeah, hands down. You could think there's tons of them. Beastmaster, you know, Krull,
Sword and the
Sorcerer, you know, Dragon Slayer, but none of them.
Lady Hawk, I think, was critically successful, but I'm not sure how well they did financially.
I think Conan was the apex of sword and sorcery movies. But, you know, you'd expect that from any kind of De Laurentiis epic movie.
Yeah.
Moving from movies, video games. I'm going to review Far Cry 5, since we did 6 last time. 5 was a lot more difficult than 6. I'll give it that. 6 we were talking about, you know, he was trying to escape something equivalent to a Cuban island, but it wasn't Cuba. This time, you're a deputy trying to escape a county in Montana, and you're trying to get away from these weird religious zealots who's made like this weird hallucinogenic gas, and they're kind of brainwashing everybody.
I was going to say, are you sure that's Montana and not Utah? But
no,
the Mormons aren't going to gas anybody, so.
No, this one takes place in Montana, and you're a deputy, and you're trying to get away from religious zealots who enjoy their gun rights. This one's more challenging than 6, but that's about as far as I've gotten in the Far Cry series, because I wanted to go, for some strange reason, my mind decided, okay, let's go from 6 backwards. So that's my review of video games. I haven't done any books lately. Have you done any books, Josh?
I started the Black Company here recently, and like I said, they have a lot of stuff in there that's actually really good ideas for tabletop games. Honestly,
I've gotten through the first part of the series where they're going. Oh, they've finished the first like big storyline, and they're actually moving on to like another continent, and then shortly, like after the first book, in that direction is where I dropped it. I didn't drop it on purpose. I just got away from it.
I'm just getting into them, but I'm already hooked on it. So
it is real good. Make sure you get like the side story. I can't think of the name of it. Something about it revolves around a nail.
Okay.
But the nail is very important. And the rose. How many books are you on the first book still?
Yeah, first book still.
Okay. But there's like a side, like when they get toward the end, there's like a side story about like what happens because some people split off, and there's like a book that tells what happens to the people that split off.
Oh, okay. I will definitely have to get into that when I get there.
TV shows. Have you seen good TV shows, Lex?
Not really. We've been watching some anime, and then because I've been real busy with a new baby, and
congratulations on the baby, by the way.
And work's been keeping me really busy. Mostly I've been watching anime and watching a ton of Family Guy, like if there's nothing else to do. And we watch Family Guy mostly because there's just a lot of it. So we just let it run while we're doing something else.
Well, I haven't seen the new season of it, but I'd like to talk about The Witcher.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen the new season either.
You know, I just want to talk about wasted potential and Henry Cavill, how he just flakes out. You know, just walks away from... I like to call this season the final season of The Witcher, because I don't think I'm going to watch it with Liam Hemsworth taking over.
Yeah. They've never said what happened. You get the impression some of it's his choice, but...
I heard he's leaving because they're not staying true to the books, which I kind of agree with, because I've read the entire book series, and they kind of went off the rails.
That's one of the rumors. I feel like if that's the rumor, then the parting was probably mutual. I don't think they're just like, you know what, I'm quitting. I think they were like, if you don't like it, you don't have to be here. And he was like, well, then I won't be here. Yeah, but I also, when it first happened, I wondered if he was quitting because he thought he was going to have a bigger role in the DCU before it canned him. But
then again, you know, he joined the DCU, he came back in Black Adam, and then he left the DCU again, and then he's like, okay, I'm going to sign on to be the new Highlander, and then I'm reading articles saying that he's backing out of being the Highlander, so it seems like Henry Cavill's going to be the new poster boy for wasted potential.
That's the Superman curse, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean... And then there was talk that, you know, he was going to be the new James Bond, and now he's not going to be the new James Bond.
That was the other thing, because that's another role that's said to be cursed. I was like, that would be interesting if he breaks the curse by doing two cursed characters.
So, I mean, it's like, it's totally disappointing, because I was really hoping that he would have... I love the Highlander, and if he would have taken over, you know, as the new Connor McLeod, I would have definitely... invested money to go see that, but
I never looked into it, but I keep seeing stuff about him in a Warcraft movie.
That too, but you know, like I said, everything that he's been tied to, he seems to just want back out of. I don't know what he's looking for.
Was it Warcraft or Warhammer movie? Because I know he's been talking about Warhammer a lot too.
Maybe it was Warhammer then.
It could have been. It's one of them, for sure.
They just had a Warcraft movie, so maybe I was wrong. It was Warhammer.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Didn't that Warcraft movie kind of crash and burn too? I haven't seen it.
I've heard it was good, but I don't think it was very popular. I haven't seen it.
I haven't either.
Moving on to our main topic.
Yeah. Before we get into our questions, what do you kind of do to explain to everybody listening?
Well, originally, like the first year we did it, I was just the sponsor. Basically, I supervise and make sure the kids are doing what they're supposed to be doing and not stuff they're not supposed to be doing. And I was a player in one of the games, but then the next year, the kid that kind of kicked it all off had graduated, and the kids that were left asked me to DM. So ever since, I've been the DM also. But, I still have the original roles. I can't, just because I'm DMing, I can't suddenly let kids do whatever they want. Coordinating the club as a club, like we've been trying to get t-shirts since we started. I think we might actually get it done this year. Got officers elected last year, so now we have an activity fund. Theoretically, we don't have any money in it yet.
Has your group got a name?
Winona RPG Club.
How long has the project been going on, or the group been alive?
This is my 6th year at Winona, so it's going on 6 years.
That's been that's a long time. That's actually
we
longer
started,
than I thought it was been going.
We started right before Christmas, my first year teaching at Winona.
What's your goals going forward, fundraiser wise or activity wise?
Activity wise, we want to keep playing for sure. I floated the idea of the club getting involved in some community service stuff. I was born in the late 70s, so I'm very sensitive to the memories of the Satanic Panic and all that stuff from the 80s. So I want to make sure that the hobby has a good name out in the world, especially if I have kids coming in my room to participate.
It's crazy because our last episode we just recorded was on the Satanic Panic.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've only, so far since I've been doing it, I've only ever had it mentioned once, and it was from another teacher that just said that's all they knew about it. And I was like, well, it's not like that.
What's the average amount of attendance you have in your program?
Last year it was 8. But last year we got a bunch of new kids who are returning. Right now we have about 13. If they stick around, the plan is my sister-in-law is a music teacher at the elementary. She also plays D&D with me on Saturdays. She's been helping me out, and she's going to run a second group, kind of in the same campaign. We're going to co-DM. She's going to run a second group so that one person isn't trying to run with 12 players. In the beginning, I had kids that were very familiar with the game, but very quickly, I got to a point where there was one kid that knew the game and nobody else knew the game. So to make things a little friendlier to them, I put it in an educational setting. So the oldest characters in the current campaign started out as interns on a summer excavation where they had a classic dungeon crawl, went into town, got caught up in a murder mystery, and then, trying to think of the name of the book, Ben Ripken's Guide to...
Ravenloft?
Yeah, Ravenloft.
Is it Ravenloft?
Yeah, it's Ravenloft.
Okay. There's a section in there where you go to a place and it's a jungle, and the main villain is a werepanther. And so I pulled them into that realm and basically did a little Hunger Games scenario with them. Okay. That's how we ended that first year with this current campaign. And then last year, the professor that they worked for, I kind of time skipped where everybody was graduated. And that professor was like, okay, I have this network of adventuring groups all over the continent so that we can all communicate with each other, so that if one person finds out about a threat over here, they don't have to travel over there. They can just send word to a group that's already over there. It's like, well, I want to establish a new group in this town. If you guys want to do that, then, I'll help pay for your way. I'll give you a letter of recommendation, all this stuff. And so that's how they got established in my version of Neverwinter. And that's where they're starting this year. They've acquired a stronghold. They still need to build it up. That's how we ended last year, was them defeating the current resident of their chosen stronghold. They did get away, though. So we do have a recurring villain option.
So what are they, like a group of murder hobos, or?
No, probably the opposite. We actually, because the group's so big, I allowed it. We do have a pacifist character. And she is one of the more skilled players, actually. I have not had to worry about accidentally killing anyone unless they were just being really adventurous and went off on their own.
Yeah, it's always... I'm glad that your pacifist character is a highly skilled character, because it does take a lot of skill to play one of those.
Yes.
For sure. I know a lot of people try to play them, but it's not very successful, or you're just bogging everybody down.
Yeah, she concentrates on healing. I think we did manage to get her to hit a zombie once.
Yeah.
But
maybe a lot of crowd control spells, maybe.
Yeah, crowd control and healing.
That's probably.
In this new group, do you have a lot of, are they mostly spellcasters? Do you have a lot of archers? Is it mostly...
We actually don't have many archers at all.
Any rogues? Was it mostly barbarians, meat grinders?
No. Trying to think. Everybody really likes their utility, it seems like. There are some new characters this year. One player decided basically to let me kill off their character at the end of the campaign, or the end of last year, so that they could play a ranger. And we haven't gotten to the point where any of the new characters are introduced. And the new players are still working on theirs, but we have a blade singer, a vengeance paladin, and a monk. And then the kids actually requested me to make a DMPC at the end of last year. So looking at what they were lacking, I made a fighter, a battle master, kind of geared towards support, because I don't want to take the spotlight away from them. Mm-hmm. And then with the second group, I made a barbarian, because they don't have any tanks. So I'm kind of filling in the holes for now.
Because the way your campaign is set up, with the network and everything like that, is it more of a series of one-shots with a overarching story behind it, or...
Well, it doesn't always work out this way, but I try to do a story for each 9 weeks.
Okay.
And then there's like an arc that ends in the last 9 weeks.
Okay.
Like I said, we haven't gotten into it yet, but my plan to kick things off is to have a fall festival and have the two groups do two different things, possibly coming together at various points. But most of it's going to revolve around this fall festival.
Okay.
And I'm thinking the new group I'm going to put around Black Lake and have something kind of simple. Black Lake in Neverwinter is this lake that's literally black and is known for having undead just like climb out of the lake every now and then. Like nobody knows why, nobody can do anything about it. But so I was going to have that for the less experienced group, and then the more experienced group. I had this idea last year, just as a funny quasi-terrorist situation, with somebody going around putting stinking cloud glyphs of warding on statues all over the city during the festival. And the city wants to put a stop to it because it's quite a nuisance. Yeah.
What I always do in that kind of situation, you talk about carnival, especially if they're really low-level characters. I got like the Witchlight Carnival book.
Yeah.
And I just pull out the Witchlight Carnival and let them do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got a bunch of fun things in there, and you could throw little problems in there that's suitable for their level characters and just kind of wing it and improvise and,
Yeah, I own Witchlight, but I've been avoiding reading it because I want to play it before I run it.
Well, like I said...
I did get a Kickstarter, Festival of Wonders or Tournament of Wonders, something like that. That is a similar thing. They have mini games and stuff like that I plan to draw from. Not really for the overall story, but...
Well, the best thing about the Witchlight Carnival is you don't have to follow the storyline. You could just strip out the storyline and keep the carnival games and rides and put, like I said, your own scenarios and situations and improvise, do what you want in there, but just keep the games for the low-level character party to have fun in there.
Yeah.
Just throw some goblins in there, drunk and roughhousing or whatever. Let them go in there and be bouncers and clean up the place or whatever. But that's what I always do with my party. It's a traveling carnival. I feel like my party's had enough wear and tear of just dungeon crawling and tired of the mundane. I'll throw the Witchlight Carnival in there somewhere. Yeah, this is something like that. Just a break from the mundane. It's fun. And
another one that's good for carnival use, especially for like a fall carnival thing, is if you have the book. I know Dave does the Game Master's Book of Random Encounters. I think it is.
Okay.
It has the Presto Changeo one shot in it that takes place at a carnival.
Okay.
And the basis of it is a guy shows up peddling like potions that'll heal things, and someone sabotaged the potions. Oh. And so people take the potions, they get a free sample, and it turns like some of the civilians into hags or all kinds of other random stuff. And then the players, if they take any, they don't change with the regular civilians, but whenever they track down the first little boss fight of the thing, their side effects kick in, and they have disadvantages in the boss fight to make it a little tougher.
Okay.
That's always a fun one to do in the background of a carnival.
That's something I definitely suggest is those Game Master books for you. I use them all the time, and they're quick. Improv. One's just like nothing but traps. It's like 600 different traps.
Is the Random Tables a series? I want to say I've seen more than one.
Yeah, they have a series of them. There's one for Random Encounters, Dragons, Traps and Puzzles.
They got a new one for Villains and Minions.
Yeah.
Yep. I think they're fixing to come out with another one. There's 5 now, I believe, and they're fixing to come out with a 6th.
Yeah. But yeah, each of them, they all have their stuff in them, but every book also has like 3 or 4 one-shots in the beginning of it.
Yeah.
That you can just plug and play wherever.
So have you set any fundraiser goals this year?
I had done the math last year. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but the very baseline, I want to be able to pay for after-school snacks because the kids are staying after school, and I would like to give them something to eat while they're there. And usually I've been doing that out of pocket.
So number-wise, you're looking at?
It's not a whole lot. I think, if I remember right, it was 200 something, so about $300 would probably feed us for the year.
So if our listeners wanted to send donations, where would they send their donations to?
I would probably make it out to the Winona RPG Club. Send it to the high school with my name, maybe in the memo line. Let me get the address up real quick.
For all listeners, I like asking the hard questions.
Yeah, I had meant to go and ask the secretary like specifics about this. So some of this is me guessing, and because I didn't get around to it. It's the end of the 9 weeks, so I had a lot going on the last couple of days. 611 Wildcat Drive, Winona, Texas, 75792.
Make that out to Curtis Spur, C/O Lex Lenington.
Thank you.
And
I'll make sure the name is in the description of the video or wherever we post this at.
And on the Geekend Warriors Facebook page.
Yep, I'll also put it there.
Thank you.
And you will not be leaving here empty-handed. I am giving you a donation for your group before you leave.
Awesome, thank you.
Of terrain material for your RPG class or group.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
And what are some of your favorite character races and classes when you play?
When I play, Half Elf is my go-to.
Power gamer.
A little bit. I like to be versatile. So I usually play something that mains martial but has casting options. So Eldritch Knight is probably my favorite. Paladin, Ranger, Bladesinger. I will dabble in other things, but those are my go-tos.
What is your favorite campaign module?
That I've participated in. I think probably Tyranny of Dragons.
Tyranny of Dragons.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
That was one of the first campaigns I've ever ran. In all your time tabletop gaming, what is the favorite shenanigans you got caught up in?
My first 5e game. Except for me, everybody that was playing was new to D&D in general. I was new to 5e. They've been playing for a few months. But we had transitioned from Tyranny of Dragons into Curse of Strahd as like a tangent kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we found out as a group we were completely overpowered for Curse of Strahd. We had one instance where he caught us when we had split the party because we were smart and did that, and he wiped the floor with us. But then he made the mistake of coming after us when we were all together, and we did terrible, embarrassing. We humiliated that man. He called, the part where they call you to the castle. Like, we showed up the case. He's like, "What do I need to do to get you guys to leave?" And like my character, who through various shenanigans had been turned into a bone devil, just sat there picking at his food and flicking it at him. Like, it was fun.
How long have you been playing tabletop RPGs? How far back have you been?
1997, I think, is when I got in my first game.
So that's 97. That's 3rd edition.
Second. Yeah.
And that's near the tail end of 2nd, though.
Yeah, 3rd edition came out while I was in Japan. It's around 2000.
Outside of D&D, have you played any other forms of tabletop RPG?
Yes, I've played Palladium, the old White Wolf stuff, World of Darkness, and Exalted. Exalted's probably my favorite outside of 5e. Maybe even including 5e, just because the character creation is a lot easier. I know I've played other stuff, but those are the main ones.
Have you tried anything like DCC or?
I played one without realizing I was playing one at a convention recently. That's the one where you start as a level 0 character, right?
Yeah.
We played that section of it, and then he explained to us that we've been playing DCC the whole time.
Yeah.
One of those old Folgers commercials.
It's one of those there's not much different about it from 5e, honestly, other than the luck stat. That's like the one thing that's different. Before we get out of here, be sure to follow us on Facebook at the Geekend Warriors.
And the Council of the Dungeon Masters on Facebook. And what does not kill you gives you experience.